Hello bass family, and welcome to a new year in the second season of Everything Bass. So it's very common at the turn of a year, going from December 31st to January 1st, to start thinking about New Year's resolutions. And I know that's a dirty word for some people, but I think the concept is sound. We need, because our year can get so crazy and things could be going so fast, we need a regular once a year time when we kind of take inventory and see what we'd like to improve about our lives, what we'd like to get rid of, maybe set goals, professional, personal, whatever they may be. So I like it. And like probably some of you, I've set out the goal to practice more in the new year and get through some plateaus. So I wanted to address that today because, like a lot of resolutions, they don't last long. For some reason or other, you'll get a couple weeks into it and then, just return to business as usual. But our instrument is the most enjoyable when we're constantly improving. And so it's very common, as I mentioned earlier, for a lot of us to say, my New Year's resolution or my goal for 2021 is to practice more. And the intention is excellent, the execution can be weak. So I wanted to give you some tips, maybe just a focus that might help you stay on that path for the entire 12 months of the year and just reap the benefits of being a better bass player. So the first thing is, I want you to think about setting out your goal of being like practicing more and practicing better as setting out on a long drive in your car. You might one morning wake up and say, I'm going to go for a drive, and you don't set a destination, you just get out and start driving. There's a couple problems with that. One is you don't know when you get there. Two is you could head in one direction and it's the opposite of what you really want to be. You could get to the destination that you just kind of stumble upon and realize it wasn't worth all the effort. Practicing can be like that. So the first tip I want to give you is to set specific goals. It's and it's common. People email me or message me on Facebook all the time saying, could you look at my practice routine? And I flip it around on them and I ask them, well, what do you want to attain? What is it about your playing you want to improve? And that allows them to set a focus. It's like setting a destination on a map that you're going to drive to. So let's say your goal is to be able to walk jazz bass lines at 210 beats per minute. Great goal. Like by the end of the year, you want to be able to open the real book to any page and be able to do that. So now you've actually set a destination. So is that enough? Just having a destination? No, it can't be. If you've set the correct goal, then you can achieve it with the information you have now. And I know it sounds weird, but it happened to me. I mean, a lot of these lessons and videos I come up with personal experience. And when I was self-taught before I went to Musicians Institute and also took private lessons, I would say, I'm going to practice more. And I'd sit down and end up just playing the songs I knew. Or I'd learn a new song from a band I liked, but it really didn't get me where I wanted to be. So with so that in mind, since you know that you've set a destination, you want to get there, but you don't know the map. You don't know what roads to take. A lot of us turn to our devices and plug in the address, and the device tells us how to get there. And it'll tell us, take this road to this one, then this here, and if you need gas, here's a stop. That's what you need to get with your practice time. And it's attainable so many different ways. You may want to look at websites like mine, or YouTube channels like mine, I should say, and search for whatever your goal might be. To use our example, jazz walking. And you may want, and I really like this approach, go all the way back to the beginning. Because sometimes we get to a point with different inputs and our own personal practice, and we skip some vital information. So I always suggest, and I do this myself, when I'm trying to improve an area, I just go and find a teacher and I start at the beginning. And sometimes you have to convince them, because I'll say, hey, I want to start way back at the beginning. How would you teach this to someone who doesn't know? And they go, well, you do know. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I'm trying to learn a better process. I want to see what your process is. So if you are going to use this channel and your goal is walking jazz bass lines, you can just go to my channel and search it, or there's a playlist to that effect, and just start working through the videos. So that's one way. My favorite way, it's going to sound weird because here I am with the bass channel, but is private lessons. Either one-on-one in person if it's safe for you to do so, or you have a teacher that you respect in your area, or Zoom lessons, Skype lessons. Find an instructor, and there's so many out there, someone you admire. And don't be hesitant to approach someone that really has influenced you as a player, because a lot of times they do this as another way to make income, and you're getting the benefit of studying from someone who's just at the top of the mountain. But yeah, private one-on-one lessons. I resisted them growing up. I don't know, man. Before I went to Musicians Institute, private lessons to me sounded like the worst thing in the world, and I realized it was my insecurities. I knew what I couldn't do, and the idea of a teacher going, "Oh, you can't do that," just crushed me. But it was my own insecurities. When I got with some really great teachers, that was the opposite. They were like, "Oh, you don't know how to do that? Great, let's work on that." And it was so encouraging. So yeah, getting a private instructor, or in the very least, going through an online program, is your map system. It's telling you, hey, first go here, enjoy that area, then go here, stop here for a little while, and go there. And so that's where the missing piece with a lot of these New Year's resolutions about practicing better, or practicing longer, harder, attaining certain skills, is we don't have the information ourselves to do it. So we need to get help. Now, I collect music books. I love music theory books. I love technique books, anything, styles books, any bass book out there, or even general music books. I collect them. I just something I've done. And I can tell you from firsthand experience in my early years before I got training, I would get a book at a new year. New year started, I'm going to sight read. I'm going to learn to sight read. I'd get the method book, and without someone to explain my questions, and believe me, there can be a lot of tricky things where you're like, well, this doesn't make sense, or I don't understand this. And it's so easy just to give up. A private instructor, or at least someone that you can drop in on here and there and say, hey, I was working on this book and this page came up and I don't understand what they're trying to say. That just gets you over it, and then you get the benefit of it, and it fuels you. You want to get past those milestones more and more. So so there's a couple suggestions. Set a goal, like by the end of the month, or the end of the year, sorry. What would you like to be better at? Maybe it's improv, maybe it's training your ear. Transcriptions, that was one of mine. I wanted to get better at transcriptions, and that's been huge for my musical development. Learning how to listen to a piece, write it out, and practice it and learn it. That's been huge. But these are very personal. Now, if you don't know what you want to improve on, maybe it's just like a huge buffet and you don't know what item to start eating first. That's where you're welcome to comment below, direct message me if you want. My email is dtitus@daletitus.com. Honestly, it's quite simple. Usually I just ask a couple questions: why you get started on the bass, what are your personal goals with the instrument. And believe me, most people don't say I want to be a professional player. That's out of the picture. It's not about whether you want to be a professional player or not. It's just, do you want to enjoy playing more? Do you want to have confidence in your playing more? If someone asks you to come up and sit in, maybe that's a skill you want to develop. Like, how can I make sure I can go on stage and have my best chance of success? These are all great goals. Now, with the 1 year, like long-term goal, I also find, just like when you use a map system on your phone to get to a destination, those waypoints, take this road, then turn left, take this road. I like to set out my 1 year goal. What do I want to be better at the end of the year? And then I put monthly goals. And that keeps me from procrastinating. Because I mentioned before, man, in all honesty, I'm one of the worst procrastinators you'll meet. So if I know that I'm midway through the month and I haven't gotten certain things done to get to my end of the year goal, it puts a little bit of oomph in my practice. I get a little more serious, and it helps. So setting out a year goal and then monthly goal. If a monthly goal seems a little too oppressive to you, you can do quarterly goals or 6 months goals. It's up to you how you respond, but don't go easy on yourself. That's not the thing, man. Yeah, and lastly, I want to leave you with this. It's very common out there. You can Google this after to make sure I'm not making it up. But there's a thought process out there that's been, I believe, proven over and over, and proven in my life, that if you do anything for 21 days straight, it becomes a habit. So if you're wanting to work out. If they say if you do something, working out every day at the same time for 21 days, your body gets used to it, your mind gets used to it, you get conditioned, and it becomes a habit. And you can do the same with practicing. In my early days, I applied this, and what I found helped to kind of make sure like I actually look forward to practicing every day is a couple tools. One is I set the same time of day. And the same duration. So I'm not going to remember it because it was like literally decades ago. But let's arbitrarily say that my best time to practice was 8 o'clock at night. So I would say 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock every day I would practice for 21 days. And the reason I set an end on it is when you're trying to do something like that and practice regularly, it's best not to get in this whole thing of I got to practice 8 hours a day because you'll burn out. The best bass players in the world will burn out. Plus, after a certain amount of time, you're not really sharp mentally anymore, and the practice, it's arguable whether it's even doing you any good. So setting out a goal that's one hour long and doing it for 21 days, I found, and people I've talked to have found that they actually, then it became part of their nature. And after that, I scaled it back where I did 5 days a week instead of 7 days a week. But for 21 days, I picked the same time, and maybe an hour's not going to fit your schedule. Honestly, 20 minutes a day of real focused practice, not just jamming and doing what you already do, but trying to learn new things. 20 minutes a day is a gold mine. And at the end of 21 days, you can look back and see that you've made a lot of progress. Okay, hey, let's keep those resolutions. Let's keep those goals in mind. The worst thing about bass playing or music in general is stagnating, becoming stuck on a plateau, not getting any better, embracing and getting comfortable with your limitations. Those are all really bad things. And sometimes it even leads you to stop playing totally. So let's not do that, man. And let's lean on each other. Lean on your community here. If at any point on any video that's on this channel, you're having problems like sticking with your practice, put it in the comments and you will be surprised how many people will reply and give you encouragement. It's a great community. I love the Everything Bass community. It's so awesome. All right, well, that's about it, guys. So let's stick to it. Let's practice. Let's ask questions. Don't do it alone. You're not alone. You're part of one of the greatest families in the world, the bass family. And good luck and have fun. And I will see you at the next video.